Hello, I'm Simon Collings, and welcome to day 4 of my ABW Singapore Sling tour reports. I'm out here with Arsenal for Haters TV. You can find us on Twitter at Haters TV. You can find us on YouTube at Haters TV. We've got all our video going up there from the tour, presses with Unai, interviews with players. And yeah, day 4 just finished. Another long day, another busy day, but another brilliant day. So much going on. Having an amazing time out here. It was game day today, obviously. So with the time difference, it didn't kick off till 7:30 here, so that was 12:30 UK time. So in the morning, filed a piece for the Standard from Mustafi from an event that we were at the day. Some interesting stuff from him. Basically, we were chatting about how we get on at Arsenal so far, and I was trying to get him to compare what the difference was between Unai Emery and Arsene Wenger. And he says, well, to be honest with you, I can't really compare the difference between working with them in pre-season because I haven't had a pre-season at Arsenal. You know, the first year he came was 2 days before the window shut, August 30, when he was signed from Valencia for all that money, 35 million. Then the second year, he had the Confederations Cup, which meant, as you do the same in the World Cup year, he basically had an extended break, and also on that break his wife gave birth to his daughter. So, as he put it, it wasn't a quiet, relaxing holiday. So, yeah, it's interesting hearing that from him because potentially we might see the best of him, which Arsenal need to do given we paid 35 million for Mustafi and it hasn't worked out great so far. So yeah, filed that the Standard and then headed in to see our very own chimp Neil, who's out here with the Arsenal fans. We went into the middle of Singapore, into the city centre. Nice bite to eat, a little look round, good catch up. He was at the fan event at the Shangri-La, the hotel, the other day, which is where Arsenal's staying. So, I mean, Neil saying he's seen some great stuff. Unai Emery playing tennis, he's seen. Massive entourage Arsenal have got there. It's huge. I mean, they've got, more staff than you can imagine, sort of 60, 80 staff, with everything from nutritionists, bodyguards. I mean, everyone is there. They've almost taken over the hotel. It's amazing. So, Neil gave some good insight into what it's been like staying there. Finished that up and then headed over to the stadium for the game. And it's an amazing stadium here. I know I said the other day I went down there and had a look, but this time being able to go inside it and appreciate it. You know, it's 55,000 seater, amazing facility. Almost, I described it as the Singapore Emirates, basically, in that it's, state of the art, not a bad seat in there. But the only shame probably was that it wasn't that full. I think that can be the case. Looking back on it now, it was a Thursday night. It's difficult for people, especially when, if you think there's 3 games here and one of them's on a Thursday night, then people are probably going to swerve it when Arsenal are playing on a Saturday night against PSG, who had a stronger team out. So that would probably explain it. But yeah, there's about half the people in there. As for the game itself, I thought we were seeing signs of what Unai Emery wanted to do. I mean, the main thing that I took from it was, obviously we lined up 4-3-3, and the way that, certainly when they lost the ball initially, Arsenal, you can see they've almost got that same thing that Barca had a few years ago, and a lot of teams have, where in those sort of 4 or 5 seconds, and when you've just lost the ball, you instantly try and win it back. So you press super hard in packs, 4 5, you go. And if you don't win it in those 4 or 5 seconds, then you drop off and you keep your shape. And that was one thing I noticed a lot, certainly in the first half, that they were trying to do. And Emre, who's obviously still getting to grips with English, was out on his tech clear the whole time. I don't think he really sat down. He was out there directing players, trying to get them to move into the positions that he wanted. So that, for me, I thought was a plus. Going to take time to get a pressing game to work. It's obvious it's a difficult thing for players to learn, especially when we haven't really had the pressing game that Emre wants us to play for 20 years. Or Wenger never really had that proper pressing game, so it's going to take time. But there were signs from me that it was coming along. In terms of who I thought performed well, I mean, Smith Rowe was obviously fantastic. The goal he scored, picking it up sort of 25 yards out, cutting in, smash it into the top corner. A few of the newspaper boys spoke to him afterwards, and you can see some of the quotes from him around various sites, basically saying, this is one of the lads who won the Under-17 World Cup. You remember, with Phil Foden and Sancho and all that squad. And he basically said, that goal was better than winning the World Cup, getting my first goal for Arsenal. So you can tell he's a proper Arsenal boy. He thinks he doesn't need to go on loan, which I potentially agree with him there. I think with the Europa League and the Carabao Cup, my view now, having seen him play today, saw him against Bournemouth, not live, but saw the match streamed. I think he's good enough to be part of that squad, Europa League and Carabao Cup squad. So I'd keep him until January, and then I would give him a loan, I think, to a Championship club and let him have 18 games in the league below. But for me, he's got enough to be in the squad for that. Who else? I thought Guendouzi was very good in the middle of the park. As I said, they went 4-3-3, and when the teams came out, we were chatting in the press area, and we thought Ramsey would be in the middle of that as the leader of him, Smith Rowe, and Guendouzi. Ramsey very much a senior player, but in the end, Guendouzi went in there and sort of sat almost like Busquets does, and when Barcelona play a 3, sat at the bottom of that pivot and was very, very good. Constantly wanted the ball. I mean, some almost got caught out a few times, but never stopped trying to want him to play. Got around the park well, and I can see why Arsenal like him. And watching him, I don't really understand the Nzonzi links, because Guendouzi is a tall, rangy defensive midfielder who's nice on the ball. So, I mean, that's Steven Nzonzi. So I don't understand the Nzonzi links. I think that's more his father pushing the move. Personally, I don't think Arsenal really need him when you've got Guendouzi, and you've got El Nene, who was rested, and Torreira. So doesn't really make sense to me. Going forward, another young player, Nelson, I thought was really bright on that right hand side, and given we don't have an out and out winger, I think Nelson's got a real shout to play a lot this season. Aubameyang was out on the left, looked good at moments. Lacazette okay in the middle, looked good at moments, but Nelson for me of the front three was the best. Perhaps one or two negatives was Kolasinac down the left. I mean, that's where Correa got in to cross for Vieto for the goal. Kolasinac arguably at fault, muscles off the ball, but I still think Emery's going to go with Kolasinac as his starting left back. I just think that's who he prefers there in terms of the style Emery's going to want to play, especially if we're playing 4-3-3 with not much width. I think Kolasinac's ability to get forward could lead him to that. Arsenal obviously lost on penalties, but for me, I mean, it's almost a pointless penalty shootout. I mean, anyone who saw the Man United one where Kessie basically chipped over the bar to finish it will understand they mean nothing. I mean, I wouldn't really worry about that if I was Emery or any Arsenal fan. It's just a nothing penalty shootout. And so after the game, some journalists went to the mix zone. I ended up going to the press conference to hear what Unai had to say, and he was good. I think his English for me is coming along very well, and he answered some good stuff. He was very good on Ramsey. He basically explained that it's a matter between the club and the player, because this isn't, he didn't say this, but this isn't the Wenger reign where Wenger was in the contracts. It's not his remit. It's Sanyeli, Husfami, people like that who'll be dealing with it. But Emery said from what he thinks Ramsey will stay. He wants him to stay, and he also hinted that he thinks he could be one of his captains, because Emery, the plan at the moment, as it's been since Emery took over, is he wants to have 5 captains basically, and then he will rank them from 1 to 5. So we will have a captain, but he will have 5 players who are basically the order of captains. He says Ramsey can be one of those. So that, it seems like it could be a carrot to get Ramsey to stay. So look, stay, you'll be the captain. And then we also heard from Emery on Gazidis. Spain, he doesn't really know what's going on. Like a lot of us really, I think, no one knows what's going on with Gazidis, but Emery was full of praise for him and says, when he came here, he's been speaking with Ivan every day, discussions about Arsenal. So if you read into it from that side, well, Emery says he's constantly talking with Gazidis about Arsenal, he's not going to be leaving. Or you can read into it and remember going, I don't know what the man who hired me is going to do. Arsenal obviously released that statement the other day, but for me, that hasn't really cleared it up. And until Milan either hire someone else or hire Gazidis, I don't think the story's going to die. So after finishing up with the presser, I had a few bits and pieces to write, something for the Independent, something for the Guardian, something for a newspaper in Ireland. I uploaded the video to Haters TV on YouTube, so you can go watch it there, the full Emery press conference, Simeone press conference as well, who spoke a bit about Emery and what Arsenal fans can expect from, obviously, Simeone knows him from his time in Spain. So finished all that up, headed back home, and was done about 3 a.m. in the morning, just because the time difference means we're off 7 hours ahead of the UK. It's so easier for filing stuff, but does mean that you're working late into the night. So tomorrow I'll be doing the kit launch. Also launching the 3rd kit here. Should be some Puma players there, so check Bellerin. Then we've got a press conference with the Unai, which will be up on Haters TV probably around midday UK time. Then we're going to watch Arsenal train at the National Stadium, and then Thomas Tuchel will be doing a press conference with a PSG player, and they will also be training there. So lots to come tomorrow. Another busy day, another good day I'm sure, and I'll be back in afterwards.